Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the 17th episode of the Checkerboard Podcast. We have an interesting one for you guys today. No guest, unfortunately, but I think we'll just save a guest for episode 20 because I think that'd be pretty cool. But anyway, I'm here with the boys. We got Gunnar.
What's happening?
And we got the boy Liam.
Hey.
So, I know you guys are thinking, what is going on with those fucking images, dude? That is a really weird cast. Fucking Naruto, Walter White, and the Demogorgon. And you guys are probably like, what the fuck am I looking at? So, I thought, and let me tell you where I got this fucking inspiration from this episode. This is gonna sound really corny. I was on TikTok, right? And I saw just like this little those like little scrollable TikToks, like where you like scroll through images. I saw one that was like, name your favorite protagonist, side character, and antagonist in like animes. And I thought, I think this would be an interesting topic of discussion for a whole podcast episode on like I decided to expand it so it's not just anime, so it's like animation like in TV shows, maybe movies. I mainly did say animation for like TV shows and video games, and then also live action. So I'll start us off so that way like we have like a little clue here. So I'm gonna start us off with anime because I feel like there's a lot of good ones, and for me, you guys, if either of you guys did it, I don't really care personally. Like, that's fine with me. I just tried to be a little bit different. I was like, I don't want to reuse the same like show or series like twice. So all of mine are from different series. So I'm gonna start off with my protagonist for animation, and I picked Light Yagami. And I know it's gonna be really weird because like, I know people that are like fans of like One Piece are like, what the fuck? Luffy's just like a better protagonist overall. And
Happy birthday, goat.
which, by the way, happy birthday, Luffy. It's his birthday today.
W birthday.
W birthday on Children's Day. Anyway, so I picked Light Yagami because I have a One Piece character elsewhere. And the reason why I picked Light Yagami is because even though he's technically also an antagonist, I have like another character for that too that's from a different series that I just feel like I like a lot more. Light Yagami is really interesting because he's not your usual like protagonist where he's like a good guy. Like, if anything, Light Yagami is like the fucking like antagonist of a series. So I think that's really interesting, like of a take. Whenever like a series makes a main character like the villain of it. And I also just find it really interesting how Light just overall is like competing against the world's smartest detective in the series. I'm gonna try and avoid any spoilers if possible, but I also at the same time like Death Note's been out since like 2002, maybe even earlier than that. Like, so I'll try to avoid spoilers if you haven't ever seen it, but like for the most part, there may be some spoilers. Anyway, I like Light Yagami for that. I think Ryuk is just a really good like character that combos with him as well. There's like a really interesting duo. I feel like Light is just such an interesting character just because of the fact that like this dude thinks so quick on like the spot. Like, this guy always has like his paper somehow, and it's crazy how he sets up this whole scheme where he basically makes it so he doesn't look like he has the Death Note. And he basically becomes friends with his enemy in the fucking series.
Wait, one sec, quick, Alex. I don't mean to interrupt you, but when we reference a character, one for future's sake, you did this, so I'm not saying you, but just for future's sake, when we reference a character, let's say what series they're from, and from this point onward, if we say a series, you are in spoiler territory. Like, this is arguments on why they are the best at what they do, so we kind of need to give context to the story. So,
Okay.
like, posting a spoiler warning, if you can go by without saying spoilers, then no spoilers, but this is just for everyone watching. Like, if you don't want to get spoiled, then, like, just do the best you can to, like, kind of, like, listen around it or something like that. I don't know what you got to do, but, like, sometimes people may need to, like, say shit. That's a spoiler, but you can go back to it.
Alright. But anyway, yeah, so Light basically has to become friends with like the world's smartest detective just to kind of like claim his innocence even though he's not innocent. And the ways that this dude gets away with it, it's just fucking insane, dude. it is genuinely insane how smart this guy is. Overall, though, I feel like he got a little bit sloppy towards the end. So, like, at the same time, as much as I would want to put Luffy, because I think Luffy's a really good protagonist, I really liked Light as well, just because I just can't believe how smart this dude is, first off. And, like, second, like, dude, I don't know, like, I think his mindset is very interesting in the fact that he wants to go about, like, deleting criminals, but at the same time, he goes a little bit too far where he starts going and like hurting other people that are trying to like do good for the world. So I like Light Yagami. I think he's pretty cool, and he's the one I picked for my animated protagonist. So I'll let you go next, Gunnar.
Oh, I actually have I have a quick question as well. So this is a weird question because, so for live action, like let's just say for any of the characters, if I wanted to pick like a Star Wars character,
Yeah.
am I allowed to discuss material about them that's from like the Clone Wars or an animated thing, or would that have to be animated?
I'll count it towards like live action just because like for example, if you're doing Anakin and you're referencing shit from like the Clone Wars, I'll just still count that because like for the most part, Anakin came from live action before he went to animated. So.
All right, word. Well, I'm not saying Anakin, but
No, I know. I'm just saying. I just used him as an example.
Word. All right, sounds good. Sorry, Gunnar.
Oh, you're good. Okay, so for my protagonist, I realized I couldn't find like an animated one, but I mean this one kind of counts as animated, like because it's like the same characters like in live action and animated stuff, and just like in like comics and stuff. I went for Scott Pilgrim, bro.
Oh, that is a good one.
Like, come on, like, it's like a cult classic, bro. Like, I watched that movie for the first time, or movie. Like, I haven't like read the comics, or like, isn't there like a game too?
Yeah, there's a game too.
Yeah, I haven't played the game. I just watched the movie, but like, I just thought it was so good, and like, I don't know, he's just like a fucking W character, dude. Do you know what I mean? Like, and like it's cool because like even in the movie, like it's like so like it's almost like mixed media, bro, because like the way that everything like comes together, like from across like stuff from like the comics, like art styles, there's like the like fighting game-esque scenes. Like I think it's just cool, like, in how everything comes together for Scott and the movie itself. So that's I guess, I don't know, that's like a weird one.
I mean, I think
Animated
that's
/
fine.
live action. Yeah.
I think he's really interesting.
Love Scott Pilgrim, bro.
I think he's also just pretty funny too. Like he's
No, for real, like
dude, he'll have these fucking corny one-liners, but they're so fucking funny. Like,
no, seriously, and it's almost like you almost get like you cringe, but it's like a good kind of cringe. You know what I mean? Like it's like,
dude, I'll never forget from the fucking movie where Knife's child comes to the door, and he's like, yo, Wallace, tell her I'm not here, and
that is so funny.
And like she's like, is Scott here? And he's like, no. And then you just see Scott just fucking bust through the damn window.
That is so...
That's such a fucking good bit, dude. I think he is really funny.
Yeah. Bro, and the whole Evil Lexus thing, W, dude. Huge win.
I like Scott Pilgrim too. That is a good pick. I'll give you credit there. Alright, Liam, what you got?
All right, I would say the best protagonist in all of animation / like just kind of more of the, you know, like not live action is 100% Guts.
I knew it. Dude, how did I fucking know you were gonna pick Guts too? That wasn't okay. I'll be honest. Before we started doing this, I literally told Gunnar like 3 different characters that I thought you were gonna say. I didn't say Guts, but I had a feeling you were gonna say Guts as one of them. I didn't.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Mean, yeah, like Luffy is definitely second for me. It's really close between Luffy and Goku. Actually, Luffy, Goku, and Giorno, to be 100% honest. For second for me, but like I don't even know where to begin with this character. Like I don't even like want to spoil anything for this character, and I'm gonna give a very loose like explanation of what his overall backstory is without getting into too many like dirty details because his I'm not kidding you. If I said Guts' backstory, Default's fucking stream would probably get taken down. But anyway, so Guts as a newborn, so he lives in like the Berserk world is like literally the most fucked world of all time. Like it's pretty much medieval times, as a newborn, and it's like it cranked up to 10 in terms of like the horror thriller elements. So Guts was born, and the reason why his name is Guts is because he was born from a pregnant woman who was hung and had her stomach slit it open.
What the hell, bro?
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry to interrupt,
like,
dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's where
what
he was
are they
born
cooking
from.
in Berserk, dude?
Fucking awful. The world is awful. So that's Guts. Like that's his birth. That's his birth. And some woman who was with a.
They named his ass Guts, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, because his father was a fucking awful human being. And so anyway, well, his like I guess I don't his adoptive father, whatever. So some lady found him like who was with a group of mercenaries. Like she was literally just like a funny lady, we'll say. She's a funny lady who traveled willingly, haha, with like pirates, haha. Anyway, so she picked him up and she was like, "Can I please raise this kid?" And they're like, "Fuck it, we don't care." He'll be like, "We're pirates, we steal from people and shit like that. We need new men. We'll train him to be one of ours." And he was like a fucking prodigy. Like he was First of all, let me say this first. So Guts, as a 5-year-old, his mother died from like this awful fucking disease, like because people died a lot back then, and as opposed to the Star-Lord who couldn't see his mother die, nah, Guts stayed by his mother's bedside until she died, and helped bury her. Fucking W character. What a fucking 5-year-old. As a fucking 5-year-old.
Wow, bro.
And then he like took up a sword and like immediately started adding purpose to his life. He's like, you know what? If my mother's dead, I can at least be useful to like the people who raised me. And became like a really fucking good soldier at like the age of 12, and then his adoptive father, did awful things to him. That is all I will say. I'm not saying anything more. And then didn't hate him, didn't want to kill him until one night he came in drunk, and tried to kill Guts, saying that he's like a curse because like ever since he started joining like they were just less successful with their ratings and shit like that. And then Guts like accidentally because he slept with a sword because like as a child he never had like a teddy bear, so like he would literally cuddle with like a dull blade, and accidentally like just fucking reacted, saw someone going at him and accidentally killed him, and everyone thought that he murdered his father, and so this group chased him out.
But it was out of self-defense.
Yeah, it was completely out of self-defense and like on reaction. Like he didn't even want to kill him even though he was trying to kill him, and then he got like chased out and was picked up by another mercenary group. And then, so this new mercenary group was, like, family to him. They treated him, like, totally kindly. He made, like, good friends. And, he made good friends there. And, like, had basically, like, a brother. Like, the first ever, like, person that he actually called family. And this is Griffith. If he's like this, I don't really know how to describe him. But, like, he is the plural opposite of Guts. Guts is tall, beefy, like a very manly man-looking person, and then Griffith is like the most feminine-looking man possible, and so they're like plural opposites of each other. But, like he is a femboy. It's very true. He actually did like do femboy shit to climb up in the world because he wanted to be a king. But that's not important.
Yeah.
I gotta wrap this up quick. Okay, so becomes like a family to him, and he also meets this girl who's like really harsh to him while she was there, and their relationship starts to develop really well throughout the entirety of it as well. And basically, so these two were like brothers, and he hears Griffith talking to this person. So Griffith's trying to become a king, so he's also like he's not exactly like a pirate, but he was kind of like a mercenary group, but he was a mercenary group for hire, and like the government would hire him so that they could use them instead of their actual soldiers to do more risky jobs. And Griffith succeeded, and his group did this so often and so many times that the government was like, oh shit, we should actually like make them knights. And so Griffith was like, okay, if I do this and like get the king's like I get the king to like me, then I can marry his daughter, and then I can be the next king. And so he was like from a very bad area. Yeah, he had Riz, and so he wanted to do anything because like he grew up in a bad area, and so he was like, I want to be a king and I want to make a good world. Like he had good motives and he had good intentions. And so anyway, to impress the princess of the king, the king's daughter, he basically gives this speech about how he doesn't have any friends because if somebody was to be their friend, they would need to be an equal to him. And Guts heard this and was like, wait a minute, I'm just his lackey. I'm just underneath Griffith, so I can't be his equal. And so Guts ends up leaving the group. And this makes Griffith piss as hell and is like, okay, you want to leave, you have to beat me in a sword fight. And Griffith actually joined because he saw Guts fighting off and doing well as a young kid. And then was like, oh, I want this guy. And then Guts was like, get away from me. And then they fought and Griffith beat him. So in this second fight, 8 or so years later, Guts beats Griffith in a single hit and walks away. And this completely humiliates Griffith because people looked at him as like a god, no cap. He never lost fights. He was an amazing fighter, and Guts just finessed.
He just got sauced. He got one tap.
Yeah, he just got
one
tap.
tap.
One tap. Even after saying no one is his equal and he has no friends, Guts just one taps him and leaves and is like, I'm gonna start my own mercenary group. I want to be equal.
Ego.
And he did this because he wanted to be friends with Griffith, because he wanted Griffith to see him as a friend. And that's the only reason why he does this. It was just completely after a misunderstanding. And so what Griffith does, is he, on reaction, sneaks into the princess's room and tries to succeeds in fucking her, because he's being sad boy hours. The king finds out, tortures his ass for a year straight. Cuts his limbs, makes him a cripple, cuts off his tongue. He tortures the fucking dude. So anyway, he has no use of his arms, legs, can't speak, whatever. Guts, and this is medieval times, so they had no way of contacting Guts and being like, yo, they fucking kidnapped Griffith. And so Guts comes back a year later and finds out all of this. They find him, and Griffith is totally, oh, there's another thing that I forgot to mention. Griffith had this necklace basically that was this good luck charm, and it was said to have mystical powers. I'll get into that in a second. And basically, so he loses this necklace as well, just outside the castle walls. They save him, and some other side stuff happens after they get Griffith out. They find out that he has no use of his legs, no use of his arms because they cut his tendons, and no use of his and he can't talk. So he's just a husk at this rate. He's gonna have to be spoon fed. They cut off layers of his skin. He was literally just a husk. You could see bone and shit. He is a husk.
Damn.
And so he ends up, because this little necklace thing that he had was essentially this, what it's called as a bailet, and basically in Berserk, if you have one of these bailets, you can offer anything in return for anything, but a demon will give it to you. So Griffith finds his bailet once again and offers the entirety of his old crew to get the use of his body back and godlike power.
Oh shit.
And so
Damn.
Guts watches his own best friend, who he did all of this for. He left the Band of the Hawk. He left everything behind because he wanted to be a true friend to Griffith. And because of that, Griffith left. He got tortured. He lost use of his legs. And because he wants nothing more than to be a king, he sacrificed his entire crew. And Guts and his romantic interest that he developed throughout the entirety of it are the only two people who survived. But also, Griffith loved this person as well, but couldn't be with her because if he loved her, he couldn't be a king. And so what he does is he erases her memory so she forgets she loves Guts.
Damn.
Dude.
And all of that's his backstory. Do you want to know what happens 5 chapters later? He realizes his revenge is crushing him, and that if he wants to be a better person, he needs to focus on rebuilding his relationship with Casca, the romantic interest, rather than pursuing revenge. So this isn't even a revenge story. It's literally about him growing as a human and learning that this awful shit, my awful life happened to me. I have to grow as an individual because of it. And I have to keep, and also another thing that happened because of that offering thing, he's now living the rest of his life possessed. He's marked. And demons follow him fucking everywhere at night. And so he has not slept in years. He lives a truly terrible life and is constantly fighting. And his literal look and outlook on life is that I need to get this mark off of me and off of Katsuka. I need to rebuild our relationship, and I need to become a better person. That's literally the moral of the story, and that shit just hit me hard.
Wow.
Damn.
W metaphor?
That's crazy. Am I good to do mine now? The side character? Sorry, no. I know you had a lot there, Liam.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. There's a lot to.
That was interesting.
I didn't
though.
want to like.
I mean,
there's no way to like. How could I have explained that any less? Like, I don't know. I mean, I could have gotten like really like. I could have just said, oh, he had a shitty fucking life, and then he learned that he needs to be a better person. Like, but that doesn't explain the depth of it.
No, that's fair. All right, are you ready to hear my side character?
Word.
I think Liam might know it, but my side character for anime, it's got to be my boy from One Piece, God D. Usopp, bro. I love Usopp. Usopp is so fucking cool. So the reason why I picked Usopp as a anime side character is because Usopp is... This isn't really much of a spoiler. Usopp is probably one of the weakest, at least in this moment of time, of like the Straw Hats. Because, for example, you've got the big three. You've got Zoro, you've got Sanji, and then obviously Luffy. And also Jinbei's up there too. And then you also have everyone else, like Robin has like powers. Frankie's got like he's like a tank. Usopp is like, don't get me wrong, Usopp is like not like a bad, he's not that bad at combat, but like Usopp is probably the most realistic character out of like the whole Straw Hat crew because he kind of thinks the most realistically, I would say. Sometimes he gets really scared at shit. And it's kind of, there's like a whole thing in like Water 7 where Usopp kind of just like leaves the crew because he feels like he's the weakest one. I mean other reasons too, with like the ship, but I really like Usopp. Like he's also just one of the funniest characters, dude. In like one of the very first like arcs he's in, at the beginning of the story. I guess it's like not like one of the first, but like it's one of the last few of like the first saga. He goes against this like fishman, which fishmen are just like, they're just like dudes that are like half fish, half like human. Like not exactly, like they're mainly like fish. They're how do you like to say it? Anthropomorphic. And he's fighting one of these dudes, right? And for a bit there, he fakes his death. Like he puts ketchup on himself, and he pretends he's dead, like he got killed by like the fishman. And he sits there. He's like, wait, I have to like fight this fight. Like it's not fair that the other three are doing their fights, and then I'm just over here like faking it. Like I have to be a man. I have to fucking step up to this shit. So Usopp gets up, and he starts actually like fighting with this like fish man, and he ends up winning the fight. He like snipes him with a bunch of like, I think it was probably like the flame stars or red stars if I'm correct, which are just like, they're kind of like explosive shots. And Usopp also just doesn't use a gun. He only uses a slingshot. So he's just always like, he's like, Red Star! Usopp Red Star! Or, I don't know if it is Red Star or not, but
The ketchup's Red Star.
It is Red Star?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. But the best part, in my opinion, is his fucking Usopp hammer and his Usopp rubber band of doom. And I mean, there's so many other things with Usopp that are so good. So what he does is he'll fucking make this like hammer, like like the hammers you'll win from like a or not a convention, but like a little fairground or whatever, like the inflatable ones. He'll basically go and he'll fill up one of these and he'll like call it like Usopp 5-ton hammer, and he just bonks him on the head. Like it's pretty much just like a fucking inflatable hammer with like tinfoil on the end and shit like that. And he'll just pull these really big bluffs and just fucking, I don't know, he'll just like knock him out. Like he wins out of like pure luck. I don't know, Usopp is just such a funny character, and he's also just, I don't know, like I said, he's probably like the most realistic and like sympathetic character in my opinion out of like the Straw Hats. I mean, don't get me wrong, Luffy's really good, Sanji's really good, like all of them are really good, but I just really love Usopp just for the fact that like he's one of the more realistic ones. You can actually like understand where he's coming from, and he just has so much bullshit behind it. And he's also just like a liar. He just lies about shit. Like in the very first thing you meet him with is in his village. He's just going around trolling the town. He's like, the pirates are coming, the pirates are coming, and then there's literally just no pirates, and everyone's just like, oh, it's casual Usopp just trolling the town again, into pirates being there. Like, I like him. I just think he's a really good character, and I like that Luffy likes him not because of like his like talents and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure he does like that too, but he likes Usopp because of like who he is. So I would say Usopp is like probably my favorite side character out of like all the animes. And also he became a god, which I'm not gonna spoil that part, but he became a god.
W take.
All right, Gunnar, who do you got?
For my side character, live action.
Oh,
I mean,
are you doing
wait,
live
we're doing
action?
anime?
We're still
anime?
we're still on animation, yeah.
Oh shit, my fault.
You're
Animation, side character, Darwin from Amazing World of Gumball, bro.
Yo,
good. All right.
Hands down.
let him
Like,
cook. Let him
Like,
cook.
come on, bro. Like, do I really have to explain why fucking Darwin is the GOAT, dude? I don't know. The fucking synergy, dude, between Gumball and Darwin is so funny, dude. And like sometimes I watch like clips on TikTok or on YouTube of like Amazing World of Gumball, dude. It is just it's genuinely funny, bro. Like still, like, and I'm like
Dude, that
fucking
show.
19.
Dude, the episode where Richard gets buff still slaps. That
Bro.
episode still slaps.
I literally like that show is just so good and like it can be funny as fuck, but it could also be like really deep and real sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
Facts.
I haven't watched it in a while, but like Darwin does seem like a W though.
But dude, he always has like good comebacks, like witty like jokes. Like, I think do I have to explain? Like that's really what it comes down to, bro. Like,
But
Darwin's
dude,
just a
what
W.
are Darwin's feats, guys? What has he done? What are his like big feats he's done?
He's a fish that wears shoes.
Oh, yeah, that's a W.
Come on, bro.
That's
Bro,
true.
he's a Darwin that's a fish with legs. I mean, that itself is a funny enough joke.
You know what? Fair enough. That's valid.
W.
All right, Liam. What are you cooking? I feel like I know who
Alright.
it is, but is it Sanji?
See, the thing is, I last second changed it up because I want to say first, Sanji is my absolute favorite anime character, but I wanted to do a bit of a curveball because I wanted to make this argument a bit, I don't want to say objective, but like, I could understand why someone hates Sanji because, haha, he makes, lady jokes and he's attracted to women and he's horny and I hate him. So like I could get that and I could be like, okay, someone doesn't like Sanji. I get that. Like you're wrong and you're stupid, but like I get it. So I'm actually saying that my favorite side character, because the difference, like it's not that big of a gap between these two, is Nico Robin.
Okay.
So first of all, if you know anything about One Piece, Robin's backstory fucking slaps. It is one of the best backstories of all time. I'm not gonna. I already took up a shit ton of time with Guts, so I'm not gonna really go into that. But she just has a fucking great backstory. I am also a huge fan of her. Like, a lot of the humor of One Piece, there's a lot of like repetition in the humor of One Piece. Like a lot of the jokes told time and time again. But one of the reasons why I think that Robin is also, like, comedy-wise, one of the best characters in One Piece is because her jokes are of a very similar, like, there's like a similar theme to them, but they change based on the situation. Like, she always tells these, like, really, like, morbid, like, she says, like, this really morbid shit. Like, someone will get injured, like, an ally of theirs will get injured, and she'll be like, oh, shit, they're probably fucking dead. And, like, I don't know what, like, something about that just cracks me up. I don't know why, but, like, seeing this, like, very, like, stoic person who doesn't talk that much, saying nothing for, like, 10 chapters, and then they'll be talking about an ally, and they'll be like, ah, shit, they're probably dead. I don't know, something about that just tickles my fancy. But, like, beyond a comedy standpoint, she's a phenomenally written character who has a very good dilemma. Like one of her biggest dilemmas throughout the entire thing is like finding like purpose in one's own life, and like what a lot of her character revolves around like what is the point of your own life and what is the purpose, or like what does it even mean to have a goal in life and to actually like realistically pursue it. And there's like a very good theme and message behind her character that I very, very much enjoy. I like a lot of characters who don't say a lot but act a lot, and she's 100% one of those characters. You will not get a shit ton of monologue with Robin. You will get a shit ton of action. She's a character that progresses the story. She makes scenes more interesting, and she just fucking does shit. And she's also very funny in my opinion. So like, I fucking love everything about that character, and I think that she is probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, female in fiction and in live action, period.
And in live action.
Damn.
Yeah, she's probably like my third favorite character just in fucking general of everything, maybe second.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Alright, should I start the antagonists? Because, oh man, I know, Liam, I think you're gonna like my antagonist I picked.
If
But,
you pick the same one as me, I'm gonna laugh.
okay, so, my antagonist I picked is a JoJo antagonist. So, the one I picked is a Part 4 antagonist.
Yo, no way!
Did I pick the same one as you?
My name is Yoshikage Kira. I'm 33 years old.
Yeah, so I picked Yoshikage Kira. The reason why I picked Yoshikage Kira is because, I mean, he's just a crazy, like, I don't know how to say it. He's a very different villain, I guess you could easily say. The thing of Yoshikage Kira is he's not like your typical, oh yeah, I am out in the open, like, look at me, like, who is like a perfect example of that? Like let's just go with Bowser. Like Bowser, we all know Bowser. He's the fucking antagonist of Mario. Like he puts his flags up everywhere. Like everyone knows who Bowser is, right?
Peaches.
Okay, dude. But Yoshikage Kira, like no one in the town, cause JoJo's Part 4 takes place in like a single town. No one in that town knows who is like killing these like people. In fact, I don't even know do the people in Part 4 know that, like, there's, like, a serial killer, like, going around? I don't really remember, like,
No.
all too well. Yeah, so...
They don't even remember it until the literal spirit of a bitch who was killed by him is like, there's this guy killing people?
Yeah, so, like, literally the whole plot around it is, like, there's people that are literally dying left and right, but no one really notices. Because the thing of Kira is, like, whenever he kills someone, he explodes them, but, like, there's nothing left. Like, you can't really see anything. He's also very interesting because he has a fucking... He has a hand fetish, so he'll blow up everything the person has except for their hands, and he just keeps their hands and does really fucking weird shit with it. But it's really interesting because, like, no one knows, like, how big of a fucking threat this guy is. So, like, literally... And in the story, it probably takes, like, not even, like, probably a bit longer than halfway till you actually meet him. Yoshikage Kira is literally shown in the background of Part 4 for a pretty long time. Like, you can see him in the background, but he doesn't... You don't ever, like, know what he does or anything like that until you eventually focus on him. And he kind of... I want to say he kind of gives off, like, Patrick Bateman vibes, which I know that's kind of cringe, but, like... I don't know, he's just like this dude that goes around killing people. No one really notices or cares. And he's just like I guess Patrick Bateman's not like the average dude, but... You know, essentially he's just this fucking crazy dude that no one pays attention to, and eventually, like Liam said, this ghost of this girl he murdered is like, yeah, no, this guy is literally going around and killing people. He's like, we've got to fucking stop him, right? And this guy goes as far as to, like, literally change his whole identity from this, like, other stand user, which stands for just, like, the power of JoJo's. Like, they're just a manifestation of, like, one's... Is it soul? If I'm right? I haven't watched JoJo's in a while, but, like, it's essentially, like, a power that, like, only people that have other stands can see. And there's this lady that, like, can change up people's, like, designs and stuff like that. Or, like, not designs, but, like, their like, face and all of that stuff.
Like she can literally swap faces with people. Like
Yeah.
for faces.
And so Yoshikage Kira switches faces with this random dude, and he basically becomes like that dude. And then they don't know what happens to him for a while. And so Yoshikage Kira has to go and like he becomes like a husband to this like lady, and she like starts getting it's really interesting the dynamic between him and like this lady. And then eventually her son like starts to notice like, yeah, this isn't my dad. What the fuck? And he activates this power that essentially goes and just it can reset the universe anytime his identity is said. So anytime this kid goes and he's like, my dad is the murderer. He's the serial killer. The whole universe just like, resets because he just can't tell anyone. So it's just fucking insane. He's a really cool villain. I think JoJo villains are also really good. Like I would say Dio is a good runner up because Dio is also a really pretty cool villain. He's like the main villain for like part 1 and part 3. And technically part 6 as well if you want to include him. Not exactly, but yeah, so
fucking Cars and Diavolo are fucking god tier as well.
Yeah, they're also really good villains. But yeah, so I would say Yoshikawa Kira is probably my favorite for animation.
Can I? So normally we'd go to Gunnar. Can I? Since I had the same character, can I just kind of piggyback?
That's fine, bro.
Yeah, a little bit?
That's fine.
Thanks. So, the thing that what you were saying about the whole Patrick Bateman thing is it's kind of accurate because they're both like egocentric psychopaths with obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah.
And like, there's something. So like, that's the thing about Yoshikage Kira that I also really like is because his psychology is so fascinating. He's a fascinating character to watch because like you want to know why he operates the way he does, and you want to learn. He feels like a character who doesn't even understand himself and just acts on his own compulsions, and so you want to know because he doesn't tell you. Because most characters in fiction like are very straightforward about the way that they react and the way that they behave, but he isn't. Like he's just different. He's weird, and so like when you're watching, you're like, why does he behave this way? Why is he like this? And he's a character that takes like 3 to 4 like, double takes, and you have to be like, oh well, okay, that's why he does this maybe. And like you can psychologically analyze him, but I mean like also at the end of the day, like he's a fictional character, so you can only analyze him so much, but like he's just a fascinating character like Patrick Bateman just to watch and be like, this is an interesting character. And I enjoy watching him because, like, in real life, he would be awful. But, like, in this closed environment where he's not real, but he exists, it's just fascinating to look at him and watch him exist. And then not to mention, like, if you know anything about JoJo powers, he also just has one of the coolest ones. And it also is another double bias for me because I love Queen. And so if you have a stand called Killer Queen that has an ability called Bites the Dust, you've got me. You've sold me. Easy dub, easy win.
And he's also his like design is also inspired by David Bowie, if I'm correct.
Facts. That is actually
that's also pretty cool.
So yeah, there's just a lot of fascinating things about the character as well, and like seeing a character who has like this very like calm and cool composure slowly break because of the situation around him is very cool. And not to mention, so the way that he goes down is also one of my absolute favorites because the reason why he gets exposed, so you're thinking like, okay, so he literally had an ability that every time that somebody so he swapped identities, became a new person, and every time that someone said, or that his son said, this is who he is, that person would die and then time would reset. So, what, like a Groundhog Day kind of thing. How does he get out of this? So, the kid realizes that all hope is lost, and he tries to kill Yoshikage Kira. And then he's like, oh, there's no way out of this. Like, he tries to kill him, it doesn't work. And then he starts screaming, like, at the top of his lungs, like, you can't defeat Yoshikage Kira. And then the protagonist is right around the corner, and like we knew he was going to be like it was stated like that the protagonist was meeting someone here at this time. Like so it wasn't like random. It wasn't some dumb fucking thing that happens. Like we knew it was going to happen, but like because of the drama and the tension in the scene, we had forgotten about it. Kira forgot about it, and he just starts saying like, "Ha, Yoshikage Kira does not get defeated." And then Josuke walking around the corner is like, "Bitch, what the fuck did I just hear? What the fuck came out of your mouth, dumbass?" And then they fight, and he kicks his ass, and etc. etc. But like, it's such a fitting downfall for someone like that as well. Like, so exploring his psychology and understanding the character, like, he reacted like this so many times throughout the series. Like, seeds were planted. Like, everything made sense by the end of it, and like so you felt like you were encountering like this impossible to defeat, this impossible to overcome protagonist, because he also had this obsessive compulsive disorder, so he had the need to have all of his eggs in the basket, but because he's also a narcissist, he would do shit like that. And because we also knew the protagonist was going to be there at that time, like it was all so fucking perfect, and it only Yoshikage Kira could fill that hole. And so like he's the only person that could have been the villain in that series and for that part, and he fits it perfectly, and he also is just an interesting character to watch. Like I would say he was probably the most enjoyable character in the part, and I think that there were a bunch of interesting characters in the part. So
All right, Gunnar, let's hear what you have to say.
Alright, so, dude, for my fucking antagonist, I have Hero Brian, bro. I'm not even...
Hero
I
Brian.
have Hero Brian, bro. I'm not making a joke here. I'm dead ass. I have Hero Brian for a good reason, dude.
Okay, let's hear it.
let him cook. Let him cook.
Let's hear it.
Think about to your childhood, bro, and you saw Hero Brian's sighting video. Tell me you weren't scared shitless. Tell me you were not scared as fuck that you would go in your Minecraft world and see Hero Brian, bro. Because I know I was. I was so fucking scared that I would see Hero Brian in my world.
Dude,
And like,
that is really interesting.
dude, like, do you remember
Can I
that?
drop an L take?
Bro, okay, yeah.
My parents, when they found out that witches were in Minecraft, they didn't let me play it anymore.
No way. Ain't no
Oh my
way.
god.
No
Ain't
cap.
no way.
Never encountered Hero Brian, but please proceed.
Well, like, Hero Brian's not real, bro. Or is he? Nah, I'm playing. He's not. I don't think bro's real. He's not. Come on. Like, we all know this. Dude, and then and then there was a time like in 2014 2015 when the Herobrine sightings like evolved, and like they actually got like really believable, because like at first it was like, well, you know, that like really pixelated screenshot from like Alpha when he was in the fog, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, like that was like the most popular one, like that's like unsettling, but like people would like make videos like they aren't real, like fabricated like Herobrine sightings that looked real, and then me as like a 10-year-old, I didn't fucking know any different, bro, so I believed it. And it was fucking freaky, bro. I remember my old YouTube channel, not the one I have now. I had a Minecraft one before that. I had a fucking Minecraft Let's Play, and I said I'm not gonna play it, bro, because I was scared of finding Herobrine. I didn't say that, but that's why I quit. That's why I stopped playing. I'll admit that now. But I stopped my
Damn.
Minecraft survival Let's Play because I was scared of Herobrine, bro. Like the whole Herobrine, the idea of Herobrine had on like our fucking generation, probably like the Minecraft players of our generation, is something that will never happen again. I'm confident saying that. Like, and
Dude,
also it's like a cool like thing. Like it's a part of the culture in Minecraft, bro, and probably across gaming. Cause you know, like the Herobrine spawner, like the fucking gold blocks, the netherrack, the redstone torches, dude, like the top.
oh,
Come
and
on.
dude, and then the fucking even the devs had, like kind of like acknowledged him, and they put like removed
Yeah.
Hero Brian
Remove
every
Herobrine,
update.
dude. It's a troll, dude.
You know what's crazy too is that even in Smash, like, so when you parry, recover, or so anytime that there, if you know what invincibility frames are in a fighting game, like it's whenever you're not hittable, like whenever you're completely intangible to all attacks. Every time that Steve, like the base Steve skin is intangible or invincible, he has the Hero Brian eyes. in Smash, and that was intentional. Like, that was sad.
That's cool.
That is pretty cool.
That is sick.
It
But
is.
yeah, bro.
That is a really good pick, actually. Like, because it's like a character that's just been developed like for years now. That just it's weird because like he doesn't well, you know, he doesn't exist, guys, totally. But he's like a character that like the game doesn't even have like any actual like physical lore on, but like the community has like made all this lore for him, and he's such a fucking creepy, like
it's unsettling.
it
bro.
is.
Like,
It was, dude. It is unsettling. Like I remember having those thoughts, but like. Even with the fucking Entity 303 shit.
I was just about to bring that up, dude.
Like,
that was,
dude,
that
shit.
was when shit was getting real.
That shit was
Like
fucking
2015.
creepy as a kid. Like, I didn't really ever know if he was real or not. But then I found out like he wasn't real, and I was like, dude, thank God. But at the same time, like, it is crazy the fucking mythology that they created for fucking Herobrine. Like the community has. Like, dude, these fucking kids that watch Dream and shit, they'll never understand. They'll never fucking know.
Bro, dead ass. And like that, cause like the Entity Theory, like that's when like fucking like YouTubers are making like super like well-made sighting videos, and it was like Herobrine plus Entity 303, and then remember when they flipped the script when Herobrine was actually the good guy? And then Entity 303 was was like actually the bad guy. Do you remember that?
That shit was insane.
It was like an anime, bro.
The
Or,
lore.
like, it literally, it was. Come on, and then they made the Herobrine skin on Minecraft Xbox, dude. Remember that?
Dude, oh man. That shit was fucking insane.
I know.
Alright, is it officially time to move to our live action ones?
Methinks.
Okay. So, I think two of mine, Gunnar might get my protagonist, but like, I think both of you guys will get my like side character. And my antagonist, I went like different for that one. So let's start with the protagonist, because I don't know, I don't remember too much about this protagonist because it's been a really long time since I watched this, but I just remember really loving this one. So for mine, I picked the 10th Doctor, David Tennant from fucking Doctor Who.
Shit, bro,
Because,
W.
dude, I'll be honest, I mean, you could count the Doctor all as one character, like every single reincarnation, but, or I guess technically it would be regeneration, but the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant, has to be probably one of the best ones, because this dude, he was always really fucking quirky. He just, I don't know, he was just a really fun character. Yeah, he was a really likable character. For a while, when I first started watching Doctor Who, the like reboot of it, I guess it would technically be, Christopher Eccleston, who was the 9th Doctor, was my favorite for a really long time, and I thought, like, damn, dude, this guy will never get replaced as my favorite. But there's just something about David Tennant that's he's just so fucking, like, funny, he's cool. He has, like, I don't know, David Tennant is just a really cool Doctor, reincarnation. He's, like, really likable. I know, I'm not really being very descriptive here. He has some of the best episodes. For example, one of my favorite ones is like the Vashta Narada, which essentially what it is like they're in this library, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but there's like this alien species that basically like they got into the spacesuits of some of like the people that are there, and what they do is they just fucking eat up like the entirety of like the person except for like their bones, if I'm correct. And I think so. And the last thing they have of like that person is like the last thing they say. So for example, the lights would turn off, and this guy essentially, I don't remember what his name was, but he got taken over by that thing, and he like got killed. And the dude's like, "Hey, who turned off the lights?" And that was like the last line he ever said. And the Vashta Narada basically took over him, and that's just like you just see the fucking skeleton in the spacesuit going around. He's like, "Hey, who turned off the lights? Who turned off the lights?" So like that, I think like his episodes are like the greatest. I mean, I know it's not really talking about him, but yeah. So you had that. There's another one that I believe. Sorry if you can hear my dogs, by the way. I don't know if you can or not, but
that's all
One of my other favorite ones is there was an episode where they were on Mars, right? And what happened is essentially they had this like it was kind of a similar plot device
I
for
remember
that.
this episode, dude.
And dude, this had to be one of the creepiest fucking episodes I've ever
Facts.
seen. Essentially, there was like this water disease where I don't remember what they were called, if they were called the drowned or what they were called, but they would have like these white eyes, and they would just have water dripping out of their fucking sockets, like mainly their mouth, and it was
Cracked
just,
ass mouth, dude.
and they
Remember
looked
that?
fucking really creepy. Like it was a really fucking weird episode, but like David Tennant always fucking solves the shit. There's like those ones. I think Adipose was also another one if I'm correct. It's like the little doughy dudes that came from
Little fat babies.
yeah, little fat babies. Cybermen, Daleks, like all he's in like a lot of them. But his reincarnation was probably one of the saddest fucking episodes because I remember watching that in the car and just crying from that because like I love David Tennant. He's just he's a funny, quirky dude.
Sad.
He had the fucking he always wore the what do you call them? Not Vans, but the Converse. He always wears Converse.
Yeah.
He's got the brown jacket, and he'll sometimes have like the 3D glasses. I don't know. He's just always quirky. I know some people like Matt Smith more, but like for me, like David Tennant's always been the GOAT. He's a really good character. The Doctor is like a bunch of different characters, I guess you could say, but 10th Doctor is my GOAT.
Rewatch Doctor Who, bro.
But yeah, that's what I'd say for my
Fuck.
live action.
That's a good answer.
Default is cooking for real.
Sorry, I know I didn't really go into many character traits. My next one I'm gonna go hard on, but all right, who do you got, Gunnar? Who are you?
All right, I don't know if you guys have seen this show. It's fairly new, but I put Last of Us Joel, dude.
Ooh, all right.
Y'all seen Last of Us, the TV show?
I have not personally.
Dude, like if you know what happens in the game, like you know what happens in the show, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm assuming that most of y'all know y'all know what happens in the game.
Yeah, Joel's a goat.
Yeah, dude, literally, dude, like, and it's like, if you like know what happens, like I knew what happens in the game prior to watching the show, but they also like tweaked a little some of the shit in the show, like you know how like in the game like it's like the cordyceps can be spread through spores in the air. That's why they're wearing the gas masks and shit. In the show, that they don't do that, you know, because I guess it'd be too hard for the filming. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyway, that's besides the point. Just like Joel, he like is funny, and he like he's cracked as fuck. He's a goat. He like at first he doesn't want to like care for Ellie, like or like he's like, oh, I just have to take her along. I'm just trying to find my brother type shit. And then at the end, like he like the character transformation, bro, is so wholesome, and they're in fucking Ellie and Joel's like the duo, like their synergy, I guess,
They're
is like
dynamic.
top tier, bro, and they like make fun of each other, they like fuck around. I like that. Genuinely, Last of Us, dude, is so good, and Joel is just puts the icing on the cake for me, dude. And Pedro Pascal, dude, I think that's how I pronounce his name, literally is a GOAT actor, bro. Literally. I think he's in The Mandalorian. I haven't seen that much of that, but I think he's in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I
Some
think
other
he
shows
is.
as well. But no, literally GOAT. I mean, that is a must watch if you haven't seen it, bro. And because of like COVID, bro, like it kind of is like it's like reminiscent of COVID. Not really, obviously, because it's like not really. COVID was not nowhere near the scale of a zombie overtake. You know what I'm saying? But it's interesting seeing like because like as the show progresses and the characters progresses, there's like flashbacks of them. You know what I'm saying? Like so it sees what they were like in the like before everything, and just the way that Joel was changed by the infection, like not that he was infected, but just what's happening in the world. It's just really like the character development on Joel is so good.
Facts.
And
He's
W
good.
actor,
Looking.
W actor too.
Alright.
That was my protagonist.
I'll have to watch it at some point. I've never watched or played the
No
games.
spoilers on stream. Yeah, no spoilers, bro.
I know like the plot of it, but
Mhm.
I don't really know
Well-
like all of it.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta watch it, bro. Real talk.
All right, who you got, Liam? Let's hear it.
All right, my drop is this is probably gonna be the old, like, this person has retained this slot for probably 15 years of my life, and I don't see it. I do not see it changing, and that is Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker.
Ooh, all right.
Okay, so this is I'm also, so I want to make this very clear. I'm not somebody who, I don't hate on Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield. I love Andrew Garfield and I love Tom Holland, especially after No Way Home. But like, I don't know, man. There's something about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man that just, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Like, that is the one MCU thing that will get me hyped. Like, every time the MCU drops a Spider-Man movie, my ass is in that theater day one. I will not let go of my love for this character. I own the entirety of, like, I'm not like you weirdos that watches that shit on Disney Plus. I own all of the 90s series. I own all of Spectacular Spider-Man. I own that shit and I watch it on DVD because I fucking love those series. But like, dude, I don't know what it is. Like, there's something about the way that Tobey captures the character that I just fucking adore. Because I think that there's like this really, there's like the slogan, with great power comes great responsibility. Like, yeah, no shit, every Spider-Man dances around that subject, but like, everyone like gives it a very niche, like everyone kind of covers it very nichely. Like, it's very like, you know, oh yeah, there's a threat and shit like that, and you know, you're responsible if that shit happens. But like, Tobey Maguire's was the only one that I think really captured like that well, because it went through how it was actually affecting his personal life, because of how, like, you know, because of the fact that like the Zendaya MJ and Gwen Stacy were both like, you know, there was like no build up, like there was no like, oh you guys aren't okay with this life, like literally with Andrew Garfield, it was Gwen Stacy's father dies, next movie they're just fucking dating again. I don't hate those movies, I'm fine with those movies, but like there was no tension and there was no build up. And then Tom Holland, Zendaya's MJ is literally just there, and she's like preventing and helping with like multiversal fucking threats. But with Tobey Maguire, like, he actually like, he understood the responsibility he had and was like, okay, if I don't get to marry MJ, that's fine, because I'm here to protect this city, and that is my thing to do. Like, that's why I'm fucking here. And if no one's here to do it, then this city's gonna crumble. And so like, there was a much harder weight when he was like, you know what, maybe I don't need MJ. And like, when he did that shit, I mean, he ended up getting her anyway, but like, when he did that shit, he was willing to lose all of that. He was willing to lose having a decent personal life for the sake of protecting a city who hated him. And like, when you say all of that shit, like, it sounds like, oh, like, you know, like, I think people really overlook how well written those fucking 3 movies were. I don't even think 3 was that bad. I think people just hate on it because everyone else does. And so, those movies have a special place in my heart. William Dafoe's Green Goblin is also fucking amazing and has great synergy with Tobey Maguire. Same thing with Doc Ock. The second movie is a fucking masterpiece. The first movie is a fucking masterpiece. It is still better than anything the MCU's dropped, except maybe No Way Home. But guess who else is in No Way Home? Fucking Tobey Maguire. But yeah, no, GOAT, love him. Probably no one's gonna replace him as my favorite live action. And yeah.
And for main antagonist, you picked Bully Maguire, right? Surely you picked Bully. Surely you picked Bully Maguire as your antagonist. Surely.
It's true. I did.
Oh my god.
God damn.
All right, here we go. I think this is probably my most predictable character that you guys would have ever guessed.
Bro, I already know it.
Here it comes. My favorite live action side character. It's got to be my GOAT, Steve Harrington. I fucking love this man.
I fucking do.
I love this man. He is my favorite fucking character. You did no. That's valid. That's
Yeah.
fucking valid,
Yeah.
dude. So, dude, where do you even start with Steve? Steve.
Gotta start at season 1, bro.
Yeah. So Steve, season 1, Steve. He's kind of like a dickhead. But like in the same time, he's not even that much of a dickhead as people might remember him as. Like in season 1, Steve is kind of just like, he's like the typical popular dude that like everyone loves. They're like, oh, look, it's Steve. Like, he's like the dude that like most people, are just like, oh, he's the popular dude, and he's going after the girl that's not as popular, and in the whole thing, like, he has like a party, and he has these 2 shitty friends. Like, they fucking suck, dude. Those characters, if you want to talk about shitty characters in season 1, they're probably like some of the worst too. So eventually, like, at his like little party, Nancy invites Barb because like Steve's like, yeah, sure, I don't really care, that's fine. And then that's where Barb dies, actually, because like the Demogorgon kills her. Whoops, spoilers.
Rip Bozo.
That's
Rip Bozo.
if you guys didn't know that, that's kind of an L. But
That's on you.
So
That's on
anyway,
you.
after that, like, Nancy gets upset at him, and she's like, Steve, fuck you. You let my friend die here. Blah blah blah. And then she starts like hanging out with Jonathan, which Jonathan's like Will Byers' brother. And they start seeming to have like a little romantic relationship, and Steve kind of gets upset. And then like his friends, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if he did or not, but like they spray paint like Nancy as a slut or something like that on like the movie theater. And him and Jonathan fight, and I think Steve actually loses that fight, if I'm correct. I could be wrong, but like I'm pretty sure Steve is like loses that. Anyway, the moral of the story is, like, Steve kind of is like, fuck, dude, I messed up. And, like, he realizes he has these shitty friends, and this is already his redemption arc, dude. Like, he drops them as friends, he offers to help, like, the movie theater dude. He's like, can I help out? After he got his ass kicked. He goes over to, the buyer's house, and, like, goes to help out. And then he, like, runs into the Demogorgon with, Nancy and, Jonathan, and he tries to fight back with his fucking baseball bat. So yeah, that's him in like season 1. That's his main role, and then him and Nancy get back together. Season 2 starts off, and they get broken, or she breaks up with him when she's drunk, and he's like, what? And so that whole season, he's kind of coping for a bit, and then eventually he gets involved with the whole plot with like the little demo dogs and stuff like that, and he becomes like the babysitter for like the main characters.
That's
so,
the funniest transition, bro.
So he went from like the main character's like sister's boyfriend to just like their babysitter, and then season 3, because I don't really remember too much of season 2. Season 3, he's still like the goat bro's just like he's like the babysitter again, kind of like he's like the plug. He's just like the plug of the group, right? And so they all pull up to the fucking ice cream parlor. And they're trying to get, like, I don't know if they were trying to get free ice cream or whatever, but, like, essentially him and Dustin are, like, they became, like, the best of friends, because he gives Dustin advice for, like, the prom and shit, on, like, how to make his hair look good and all that. I love the Dustin and Steve dynamic. I think it's fucking perfect. And in season 3, they're still buds, like, he's, like, Steve kind of realizes in this season that he's, like, I kind of peaked in high school, dude. Like, he still thinks he's the shit, but, like, in actuality, he's kind of not the shit, which kind of sucks, because Steve is still a goat. And then he starts, he starts thinking he can only really like the popular girls, but in that season, he starts developing feelings for his coworker, Robin, right? He's like, I've been trying to get these fucking popular girls, but I just realized, like, you're here this whole time. And also, not to mention, he fucking fights, like, Russian dudes in that season, which is pretty cool. And, yeah, I don't know, that's just the W. And just scoops ahoy Steve, of course. But then eventually, like, he tells Robin, he's like, I think I kind of like you. And Robin's like, I appreciate it, but I kind of like girls. And he respects that. Dude, he respects that. Dude, he's like, you know what? That's fine. Let's be best friends. And so they become best friends. They're a fucking duo. They start working over at the movie store then. Season 4, he's got competition. Cause like now, fucking Dustin becomes like best friends of Eddie Munson, guys. Don't we love Eddie Munson?
Eddie Munson.
And so in season 4, Steve really like Bro steps up his game again, because I don't really remember all of his involvement in season 4, but essentially, like some of the main points I can mainly remember is like he kind of gets upset because he feels like Dustin doesn't like him as much anymore because of like Dustin's mainly he's hanging out with like Eddie now because like Eddie's like this big D&D dude. They've been D&D freaks. But over the season, he kind of starts to respect. He starts to respect Eddie a lot more, and he also starts to like Nancy again too. Which that's kind of hinted at that like maybe they'll go back together because Jonathan's being kind of corny over in California. But anyway, yeah. So you kind of get the feeling that like Steve's gonna get back with Nancy after he's like redeemed himself. And then like ultimately, just Steve clutches up. He like takes the like hit. He goes down into like the little hole to like get into the underworld to stop Vecna again. And he almost gets killed. He almost gets killed sacrificing himself from the fucking demo bats. And then they go, like, they actually have the job of stopping Vecna. It's him, I was gonna say Barb, not Barb. Robin and then Nancy, and they have to go and kill Vecna's, like, body while he's, like, in the other world. Like, they go, I don't know if they go into the physical world. No, yeah, they're in, like, the world because Vecna's basically trying to take over Max at that point. And they're stuck to the wall, and eventually, like, Vecna gets, like, distracted or something like that, and Steve is going and he's fucking, like, I don't remember if Steve was, like, shooting him or what he did, but Steve's attacking him, Robin's attacking him, and then Nancy, like, I don't know, Steve is just a perfect character, because he's just one of the best redeemed characters in that whole show.
Facts. I agree.
I could just go on about why I love Steve. I just think he's a funny dude, he's a fucking brave dude. He's a really, I don't know if I would say he's the most realistic character, but like I just love him. He's a very fun character, and
the team on his back sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Steve isn't the character that got ruined and they left it for Eddie Munson, dude. Because don't get me wrong, Eddie's cool, but like, dude, Steve has been the GOAT since like season 1, so
True.
I'm not trying to hear it. But anyway,
Dude, in the way that
I'll let
we
you
don't wanna
speak.
talk about Eddie Munson.
Wait, what?
No, but you. I was just gonna say we're not gonna talk about Eddie Munson, bro.
Eddie fucking Munson, bro, the TikTok guy. Eddie Munson. Did you want to add anything? Because I know he was your character too.
I think you covered it perfectly. Like, it's mostly my reasoning was that he like his character development over like season 1 to present day is literally flawless, bro. Like, I cannot think of a time when there was a Steve L. You get what I mean?
Yeah, because he redeems all of his fucking L's. He's a legend, dude. There's a reason why I have every single Funko Pop of him, except for, like, his convention ones that are super expensive. Like, I love this guy. He's so fucking good. And Joe Keery fucking kills the role, dude.
I know, he's such a good actor, bro. And his music is W music.
We love Joe Keery. Alright, Liam. Who are you? I feel like I know who your pick is going to be for this one, but
Who do you think I'm picking?
I feel like you're picking Jesse Pinkman.
It's true. It's true. He's
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Dude, I can't sleep on the GOAT, man. Like, everything that y'all just said about Steve is accurate, but like, I don't know, dude. Like, there's something about Jesse's progression, and the funny thing is, I would have picked Saul Goodman if he wasn't like a protagonist in Better Call Saul. Because like, I feel like counting him, like him being the protagonist of his own series and like him being the side character, like whatever. I just didn't want to include him. But like, dude, Jesse's development throughout the entirety of Breaking Bad is just, it's fucking wild. And I think that he's honestly the only character that I can say that by the end of the series that I genuinely wanted to succeed. And
yeah.
that's, I mean, most of the reason is because like, so I love Walter as a character, and first of all, for some reason, there's like this really weird, like, you know, I've seen a lot of videos of people talking about how like, if you think Walter's great, then like you're an awful person, or you're missing the point, or like you don't understand fiction. And I think that people are don't understand that there's a difference between liking the concept of a character and the way that they are written and liking them as an individual. Because this is the best way that I know how to describe this. Jack the Ripper has been thrown into so many pieces of fiction and has been a phenomenal character. If you've ever seen Batman Gotham by Gaslight, that's a fantastic example. Jack the Ripper in real life is a fucking awful person. But like when you put him in a fictional series and use him as a villain, he can become a fantastic character. And it's the same thing with Walter White. If he existed in real life, I'd fucking hate him, and of course I would side with Skylar. But in fiction, when I want to see fictional things happen and I want a story to be told, I like the character that progresses the story more. So like, yeah, no fucking shit. And so anyway, by the end of this, like Jesse's the only person at the end of the story that I genuinely wanted to succeed and that I wanted to see better off. Because okay, yeah, Walter's great, but I didn't care about Skylar. I like Walter Jr., but like I didn't care about them enough. I didn't even want them to get the money. Like to be 100% honest, I didn't want them to be better off. And I'm not saying whether they do or don't. I'm not clarifying that. I'm just speaking strictly based off of like my own wants, because I will not spoil Breaking Bad for anybody. All I'm saying is that towards the end of the series, Jesse's genuinely the only person that I wanted to succeed, because I think that he was one of the few people that actually wanted to make his life better, and also didn't want to fuck everyone else over at the exact same time. And to me, he identifies like the only bit of innocence throughout the entirety of Breaking Bad, and gets genuinely fucked over because that's how society is. If you do not lose your innocence and you live in a corrupted kind of like environment like drug dealing, everyone will use you and abuse you. And so it makes Jesse's story just all the more just awful to watch, especially when you get into later seasons. Jesse's he's a fucking goat. I fucking love him. His story is like perfect. And just by the end of the series, he's like the only person that like, yeah, I want him to have a happy ending, and he fucking deserves it. So just a W for my goat.
I like Jesse. He's pretty cool. I think some of the parts in the current season that I'm still in, because I still have really not watched much, I think he's kind of being kind of cringe, but I think he probably gets better. He definitely probably does.
I also think that he's probably one of the most consistently funny characters in the entire show.
Yo, Mr. White. Mr. White.
Like, I like it when he says his sentence and, like, doesn't say anything for, like, 5 seconds and then just goes, like, bitch!
I know, for real.
Jesse's
fucking goated for that one.
Jesse is a goat. I do like Jesse. Alright, now we're in the final part, guys. I know we're at, like, an hour already, but we surely we can wrap this up quick, surely.
Defo, bro.
Hell yeah.
Alright, so my pick, I don't think either of you guys would guess this one, but I went with a pick from a show that you guys, I don't even think either of you have watched it, as far as I'm aware, but it was one of my favorite shows growing up, probably in like middle school or so. I went with a pick from Gotham, and that's the Penguin.
Yo!
Let me just say right now, I do not like the Penguin, like, in most incarnations of Batman. I think the Penguin is a really kind of boring villain for the most part. Don't get me wrong, I think Danny DeVito is pretty cool as the Penguin. I think his design is really cool. I never really watched that movie, but I don't know, like usually I think the Penguin is kind of like boring compared to most characters. Like for me, my favorite Batman villain of all time is Scarecrow, and I think Scarecrow just has really cool, interesting powers, all that kind of stuff. But like I said, we're talking about the Penguin. So in this series, like if you guys don't really know like much about the Penguin, essentially his whole thing is like he's more of like a mob boss. He's not really like a superpower. Like he's not like the Joker. He's not like Poison Ivy. Like, bro is just a mob boss. That is essentially what the Penguin is. And so in Gotham, he starts off as like a chore boy for this lady named Fish Mooney. And he's kind of like, you know, he's told to like, oh, you have to go grab me my fucking food, rub my feet, do this shit. Like, you know, he just is like the chore boy. But eventually when Fish Mooney like kind of dies or like just she gets taken over, the Penguin slowly creeps his way up in power, and it's really interesting because the Penguin is really like he's this really pathetic guy in the series, but he's just so funny. He's really quirky. He has this whole relationship with like the Riddler in it, which the Riddler is also a really good villain in that. But yeah, like you slowly see the Penguin, like I don't know if it's out of luck or like he has like the money and stuff like that, but like the Penguin just slowly creeps his way up in power, and Jim Gordon, like he has to go and even like he has to work with the Penguin sometimes, even though he doesn't want to. Which Jim Gordon, I'm sure you guys know who Commissioner Gordon is. He's like the the commissioner in the current times. Like he's like the main police guy. That's mainly who like Gotham focuses around, but you also get a lot of like villain focus, and that's why I chose like the Penguin. So yeah, like he's really interesting. You get his like whole story of his like family, like his mom eventually something happens with her, and he like gets like even more like angry and pissed and like miserable. He goes to meet his dad, and his dad kind of treats like actually no, his dad is nice to him, but his siblings fucking suck. Like there's all this stuff with the Penguin where he's such an interesting character, and I love the way that this like series like portrays him. I think it's so fucking cool how the Penguin pretty much goes from like that whole meme of like those like video games that are like level 1 like crook to like level 100 mob boss. Like that is essentially Penguin's story in Gotham, and I think it's so fucking good.
Damn.
I think it's crazy how his design changes from like the beginning to the end of the series, which I still have yet to finish it, but like even though I haven't finished it, it is such a good series from like the season that I like left off on. So I highly recommend it if you guys have never watched it and you like Batman, because it's a really good way, and they can't get every single character in there. Like the Joker technically is in it, but he also isn't. Like they never actually like say like Joker. And I think the reincarnations they choose of like a lot of these characters is really good. I think it's like honestly awesome the way that they do the villains and stuff like that in there, because you get pretty much most of the villain origins in it. But yeah, so the Penguin, very cool villain. I don't know who else I would have picked, but the Penguin, I love him. I think they did a really good job with him in that series. But yeah, what do you got, Gunnar? Who you cooking?
So, I don't have like a live action one, bro. I couldn't think of one.
Bro, not
for
Guts?
fucking antagonist. I mean, sure, but that's like kind of fucking obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like. But I went with another. I went with. So this is animated. This is from a movie. I went with Death from Puss in Boots.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
I'll let that slide. If you didn't
let that
think of
slide.
anything, I'll let that slide. That was a good one.
Right. Appreciate it. But like, if you like that, like, fuck, I can't think, bro, because it's just like such like it's a good message, bro. Like, in the way that like Death is portrayed, like it's as a wolf, right? And like I just find it interesting because like Death is portrayed as a wolf that just stalks the shit out of fucking Puss in Boots, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like Puss in Boots is a cat, so it kind of makes sense when we think about it.
Yeah.
And also like the whole thing is like, oh like since Puss. Okay, so this is spoilers for the movie. Spoilers for the movie. I mean, is this fine? Like it's a fucking.
That's fine. I put up the little spoilers thing.
Spoilers for Puss in Boots right here, okay? Here we fucking go.
Yeah,
So
let's hear it.
the whole thing pretty much is that Puss is on his last life because cats have 9 lives, bro, and he's exhausted all of his 9 lives. Or like not all of them, 8 of his 9 lives, just doing shit like what he usually does, like saving the town or like fighting fucking like the creatures of the land. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you realize that, oh shit, he's on his last life. And like then he has to like chill out, like lay low, or else he's gonna fucking, die for good. And he's like, no, I'm trying to like maintain my fame and my popularity. And basically, Death was like it's like I think that Puss was the only one that could see Death because like it's all metaphorical type shit. You know what I mean?
See, I'm gonna stop you right there because that's what I thought too at first. But I'm pretty sure at
Yeah.
the end of the movie, like everyone else can see him.
Oh.
Like-
The only reason why I would say that everyone else could see him in that situation was because of where they were.
Okay.
True, and like how he overcame it, maybe, toward the end.
That
I
might
don't
be
know.
it, but like they were literally like in a fucking magical world. So like if
That's
Death
true.
could appear anywhere, it would probably be there.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and dude, so he like, and then like he gets this. He basically like he usually is fearless, a fearless fucking, you know, a fearless leader, I guess. But death was the only thing that actually shakes him, bro, because like he has to face the fact that like bro's on his last life. Like ain't no way, bro. Boy, no way. So anyway, then he like it. One thing leads to the next, and he's on this quest to find the fucking like the map to like this fucking land where you can get like the last wish. That's why it's called the last wish. Like a star came down from the sky and hit and landed, and if when someone that goes there, they can, I guess, redeem or claim the last wish. Then everyone is trying to fucking get to it, and then I think Puss is gonna use it for it, like to make I don't know, to get his lives back, right? So that he can keep fucking um being popular, being like famous, basically being loved by everybody, and then one thing leads to the next again, and then he meets Kitty, and then fuck, what was the dog's name, dude? Fuck,
I think it was dog in Spanish.
fuck,
Perito. Perito.
her Perito.
Yeah, it's like something like that.
I don't. Hang on, I'm looking this up.
It's like It's like it sounds like burrito. It's like perito. Because it's basically means little dog in
Yeah,
Spanish. That's what
yeah,
it
yeah.
means.
Okay, so that's kind of like Easter egg, I guess. Anyway, so they're all a team, and then basically it's revealed that they were gonna get married, bro. Puss and Kitty. That was revealed, and like that, and like Puss in Boots lore is crazy. Okay, so and then it's also revealed that that Puss didn't show up. You know, like he left her at the altar, bro. Like get fucked. You just got played. But it wasn't because that he doesn't like her. It's just he was scared, bro, and he wasn't ready to make that commitment. And then they have like a W wholesome moment, and then like because we're all thinking that fucking he's gonna use the wish for his like for his own gain by getting his lives back, but he wishes to spend the rest of his life with Kitty, which is like it's just like a change of heart, and then death, and then they have a fight at before this they have a fight on this like magical plane, which is what Liam was talking about. This big fucking star thing that's like iridescent. It looks really cool, and and but also I just want to say the fight scene is awesome. Like
It is
that
very
like
awesome.
the animation. I thought the animation was crazy. Because like I don't know if you noticed, but like it wasn't like smooth. Like they skipped frames, which I thought was really cool. You know what I mean?
Nah,
Like
agreed. I like that.
yeah, and like just like the design of Death, like like the two like the twin scythes, I guess you would call them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too sick, too sick. But but yeah. So basically, it's the whole thing is metaphorical, and I thought it was a really good message, and basically Death just kind of leaves then, and then Puss makes the wish to be with Kitty, you know, which is a wholesome ending.
Wholesome 100.
Facts.
Sorry I didn't have a live action one, but
No, that's fine.
I feel
You were
really
careful
I
with
feel
that
really
one.
strong about that movie.
Facts.
I think
And
it's a good
I
one.
want to. I want to kind of piggyback. I mean, that wasn't my pick, but I want to piggyback off that because, like, another thing that I really like about Death is that, you know, using using like introducing like the movie with like Puss like being the shit out of like that giant titan, and then Death just comes in and just slaps Puss silly, and then like the entire time, like, dude's like fucking petrified of this guy like showing up, and like you feel
Yeah.
horrified seeing this
Facts.
villain, and not to mention like the way that, because death is a metaphor in this movie, like he's a literal walking metaphor. Wait, because Puss in Boots like wins, like yeah, he doesn't really beat him, like he doesn't actually like really beat him in a fight, like he gets advantage, and then Puss is like, yeah, I'm not actually gonna beat you, but like I've accepted my life for what it is, and he leaves because like that's how you beat the metaphor of death. And so he maintains, like Death maintains this, like he's still a very threatening villain, but he's just not a threat to Puss anymore. So they didn't even demean the villain in the movie. Like they built up this great villain and found a way to not demean him, which even fucking like animes can't do sometimes. So like I was like, dude,
That is
what the
so
fuck
good.
is this kids movie? I'm like, this is phenomenal.
Dude, it's not a kids movie, bro. We're enjoying it, dude.
Nah,
Like,
that's true, bro. DreamWorks went crazy.
I know, literally.
That was
Bro,
a really
Shrek
good
5
movie.
when?
Surely
Shrek 5.
Surely
Hey man,
soon.
that the ending of the movie, maybe.
I know.
Surely,
Left
surely.
some shit up in the air, bro.
Oh hell yeah.
Alright, Liam, do you want to wrap us up here?
All right, well I'll get into my actual pick, which you can take that spoiler down. I'm not saying shit nobody doesn't know about. This is my most generic. This is my fucking Starbucks mocha latte pick of the day. Another one that's been a long time fave of mine, and that's fucking Darth Maul from Star Wars.
Ooh,
This
okay.
dude's been my
Bro, based.
This dude has been
Based,
my
dude.
favorite Star Wars character for like, this is another one like with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man one. This is like one that just stuck with me for such a long time. Like I don't know where to start. First of all, he has that like, I would say maybe not to as good of an extent, but like he has that same aura as Death where he's just a terrifying presence on screen. Like he is, not just because of his design, but like the way that he fights, the way that he like talks. If you've seen like Rebels and Clone Wars and shit like that, his existence is just horrifying because he's a very like brutal yet also analytical character. He's very intelligent. I mean, you wouldn't know that if you've only seen like the first movie or some shit. But like if you watch the Clone Wars, the dude overtook an entire planet that was like, it was Mandalore, which is basically where the clones, like he took over a planet of clone troopers. He didn't barge in and just kill everybody. He took over a fucking planet of those guys, just through straight strategics, because he found out that Obi-Wan like kind of had an uwu crush with one of the people and was like, wouldn't it be funny if I killed this bitch? Which he does do. But
Dude, W.
dude, like he's just fucking based. Like, and the other thing too, this is a bit of an interesting one. Because people don't really know this, but like he also has a good reason for being evil. Like that's something that I will say a lot of Star Wars characters kind of lack. Like if you don't really know a lot behind like the pre-movie lore of Star Wars, it's kind of hard. Like it's easy to get lost in the sauce. And just be like, oh, they're bad guys. Like, Anakin has an L reason for being a bad guy. Like, I'm sorry. If you think that he has a good motive, you're wrong. He doesn't. Like, I don't even... So, someone, genuinely tell me that Anakin is a convincing bad guy.
Gaslit.
Like, deadass.
Bro got gaslit.
I'm sorry. Dude, like, he's like, oh, my wife's gonna die. Kills his fucking wife. What the fuck? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
bro.
Like, he literally turned on his Bros turned on his entire fucking Jedi organization because Mace Windu wanted to kill the dude who was responsible for a fucking universal-wide war. What the fuck? That shit is crazy, man. Like, even if you wanted to say, like, oh, well, Palpatine was his only friend and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just...
Oh, Obi-Wan.
What do you mean, what about Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan was his friend, right? I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched Star Wars in a bit, so I'm missing something, but...
Yeah, and he wanted to kill Obi-Wan too because fucking Sidious, or like, well, yeah, I mean, okay, Obi-Wan was his mentor, but like Sidious was like his only like friend or whatever. Like, I don't know, like he was the only one that he had like not master student friendship with in the Jedi. Like Obi-Wan was literally just his mentor.
Well, actually, no, that's not true. What about Ahsoka too?
I mean, that wasn't canon prior to 3, so it's story-wise, contextually-wise, you can't really count that. And besides, she left anyway, so like that also kind of like that wouldn't really help if that makes sense. Because
Okay.
she only knew her for 2 years of those like 10 years. Plus, he was a Jedi. Like I don't know. I'm not convinced. Like that's the best way that I know how to put it. I'm not convinced that Anakin would turn evil. Not to mention his mother was also a fantastic person as well. So like it's just another reason why I'm not convinced. But Maul, on the other hand, came from like a tribe of like fucking like cannibals or whatever. Like his fucking race, like they like literally would be like, oh, only the strongest survive. And if you watch Clone Wars, like his brother Savage Opress, like he fucking protected his brother from like these cannibalistic people, and offered they take him instead of Savage, and shit. And then fucking Plagueis, who was like Sidious's master, saw like the will that Maul had, and was like, oh shit, this guy'd be a pretty fucking good Force user, and then scoops him up. And then, obviously because he's a bad guy, like, because of how brutal his own people were, that's why he's so fucking merciless. Because, like, he's like, okay, nobody cared for me, so why the fuck do I care for other people? It's like his psychology, check, it makes sense. Like, that's why he is the way he is. And that's why he also only cares about his brother, because it was, like, the only person he really had to trust. And so, this is, like, from, like, a book. I forget what book it's from. Like, don't quote me on that shit. Like, don't quote me on that shit. But, like, I couldn't tell you what fucking book it's from because it's been a while since I've read a Star Wars book. But, like, he's a semi-interesting character in terms of, like, I wouldn't say that's the greatest backstory of all time, but, like, it checks out. Someone would be evil if that shit happened to them. Or at least it makes sense. And then he's also just an interesting and fun to watch villain. Not to mention Ray Parker fucking kills those live action fight scenes. That shit's still the best looking Star Wars fight of all time.
You know what's crazy? I don't know if you knew this or not. I actually just saw this on a TikTok video, but you know his piercing he has? Like
I saw that too.
Yeah, his piercing's like it wasn't supposed to be there, but they didn't say anything about it, so he just literally has it in every fucking incarnation of himself.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. I like that. That's kind of funny actually.
Again, Ray Parker's based. I fucking love Ray Parker. And the worst part is too is like he's getting really old, but like he's still really like mobile and agile and shit. Like he can still do all the tricks. But like they're not putting him in anything live action, and it's really annoying me.
So
like, I want original Maul to just be in one more thing before he gets too old for this shit.
So wait, so he wasn't in the was it? He wasn't the one that was in Han Solo?
I mean, does that count?
I don't know.
It was him, but like, dude, he just showed up, spun a lightsaber, and was like, ooh.
I didn't even see that movie, to be honest with you. I just heard he was in it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Wait, what happened to him after he got his fucking legs chopped off? Like, cause I know there's like the bits of him with the fucking mechanical legs, but like.
Yeah, so when he got his legs chopped off in the Clone Wars, he literally got like sent down like that was a garbage chute, and he literally got like chucked down a garbage chute, and like basically because he was around nobody and had no human interaction for the time between Star Wars Episode 1 and the Clone Wars, which is about like 10 years-ish, just went mentally insane and became like a beast-like creature, and then they had to use like sorcery to get his mind back. And then he was like, oh shit, there was that one Jedi that cut my legs off. And then they're like, oh yeah, isn't that guy like Obi-Wan or some shit? He's like, fuck, let's kill this bitch! And then he tries to kill this bitch.
Yeah, doesn't Obi-Wan eventually kill him in like in Rebels or something like that?
And like that's another thing too that makes it like a fucking great moment. So basically, so Maul takes over the entire planet of Mandalore, beats the shit out of Obi-Wan, almost kills him, and then fucking Darth Sidious has to come in and be like, okay dude, you're like kind of fucking up everything right now for me. And completely finesses and beats the shit out of Maul, and then basically forces him to be like a slave for like a while until he breaks out, and then tries to like find Kenobi again. Like this is like beginning of Episode 4 around this time. Like this is like a year before Star Wars Episode 4, and he basically just tries to kill Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan kills him because Obi-Wan's base too. And then, but the thing is, when Maul goes out, he's not like spiteful or any shit like that. Like he's like, dude, fuck the Emperor, fuck this dumb shit, and he literally just like, reminisces with Obi-Wan is like, so this fucking kid you're watching, because he found out that he was watching some kid. He's like, is this the one that's gonna finally like correct all this shit? And like they share like a somber moment, just being like, yeah, like Sidious is gonna finally be done. He's gonna finally be dead. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's just a fucking good scene. Like, circular wise, he's a very good character, because it also makes sense within like his own character that like he was, though a spiteful person, he never really like cared about living or dying. Like he died doing what he died. Him dying knowing he tried to get his revenge was enough for him, which also I think made him an interesting enough character, because like he also wasn't like hell bent on revenge enough throughout the entirety of it that he was going like insane, I guess I'd say. Like, I don't know, everything about him just made sense. He was just fucking dope. I just have no complaints on the character. Not phenomenal, like not like absolutely insane. Like I'm sure someone would say like, oh, this character is like much more fast. I mean, you can even just say fucking Patrick Bateman's more fascinating, and I'd agree with you. But I just like Maul. I don't know how else to put it.
Understandable. I think he's interesting too. I don't really feel like I know too much about him personally, but I love his design. I mean, bro literally has the double lightsaber. Like, can't really go wrong there. But and overall, it's like it's not even like a crazy design. He is such a simple but like clean design. Just like the yellow eyes,
No facts,
the fucking black and red, like, and just like the horns. Like, it's such an iconic design. He's such a cool villain. Even though like for me growing up, because like I didn't grow up watching the Star Wars movie. I grew up playing the fucking Lego games, dude. Like, that's where I got all my Lego or all my Star Wars lore from originally. So, like, I don't know, he doesn't have too much of a role in that, I don't think. Like, other than like, oh yeah, you have the fucking boss fight with him and he like runs around the rooms, which that's not even like really accurate. That's just a Lego game for you, but I don't know. I like Maul. I think he has a really, like I said, cool design. He's pretty cool. I like him. I approve of that one. But anyway, should we wrap it up here then?
Maybe that was a good episode.
I
That was fun.
I was trying to think. I'm like I think this could be some pretty good discussion. Talking about these favorite characters. If I had to include some honorable mentions though, Luffy for my protagonist. If I had to pick another side character for animated, I would definitely pick fucking Benson from regular show. That dude's a goat. For villains,
Man.
Doflamingo, Katakuri are very good One Piece picks. And I'm sure there's more than just that, of course, but I'd pick them. I don't know, I'm trying to think. If I had to pick a Star Wars character, I like General Grievous. I think he's pretty cool. I don't know. Yeah, I had like a lot of characters I could have definitely like picked from. Daryl Dixon was probably my runner up for like a side character / main character, because I think he's pretty cool. But yeah, those are probably all my other picks I would have gone with. What about you guys? Do you guys have any like runner ups?
I mean, for fucking antagonists, maybe Gus. I don't know, dude. Cause like I feel like that's kind of like a like a cop out. Like that. Come on, like bro is inherently goated. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Yeah.
The Chicken Man.
Chicken Man.
All right. Well, for me, runner-ups. I mean, I don't even want to call it a runner-up for the side character, because Sanji just is my favorite. I wanted to say the not predictable thing. Antagonist. I'd probably say Madara is probably my runner-up.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude. I love Madara.
Can I tell you right now? I literally, before you joined the voice chat, I literally told Gunnar, I'm like, dude, he's gonna say Dabi or Shigaraki for the villains. Like, I was really predicting those.
I want to not talk about them because, like, I just want people to experience those characters for themselves.
Okay, fair enough. As
Like I just want, and the other thing too is that Dobby has a heavy amount of personal bias for me, because I'll speak this openly, but they play a lot to the fact that Dobby's a villain and he has family that's heroes, and I mean, I don't want to sound cringe when I say this. Like, I'm not trying to sound stupid or cringe when I say this, but like, I'm hoping that this makes sense. But like, my parents are Christians and I am agnostic, and there's like a lot of like, I don't know, there's just shit that he has and philosophy that he shares that I just like, I fucking vibe with, and that I'm like, I get this and I understand this. Like, I'm not saying that like, oh, I'm on my fucking villain arc, guys. I'm doing some shady shit or whatever. Like, I get it and I hear his shit and I'm like, dude, that just hits. I get it. That hits.
bro,
Like having a different philosophy from your parents and being like kind of outcasted for it, like being separated from your family due to views. Like, I don't know, it's a trippy topic that a lot of things do, and I just don't like the way that anything else does it compared to Dobby. I just didn't want to talk about it. Like, I just didn't want to talk about it. I'd rather people explore that topic for themselves.
what about Shigaraki?
It's kind of the same thing, except it's a lot more weird. It's even harder to talk about. Shigaraki's is even weirder to talk about because his is like a little bit of that, but also a little bit of like, ironically enough, with great power comes great responsibility. Like, there's a lot of interesting things in his topic, but like, if for both Dobby and Shigaraki, if you like villains that are horrifying on screen, like they do awful things and constantly captivate you, no one beats them. And I will stand by that. No one beats them. They are the kings of like just taking the attention and just putting it on themselves. No one does it like those two. So those would definitely be my honorable mentions besides Mater as well. So I mean, I wasn't trying to avoid them because like
There's
I
a
don't
lot
know,
to
man.
talk about with them.
There's a lot to talk about with them, but like I feel like I've also hit a point where I don't even try to tell people to watch My Hero because there's such a My Hero's cringe. I'm not even gonna try to persuade people into talking. Like I'm done talking people into trying to watch it because at this rate, like, if you're gonna be a pissant and like be like this can't be good because it's a baby thing and the fan base is weird, then like why the fuck would I try to talk you into it?
I feel like it's. I saw a clip of it the other day, and honestly, it feels like I don't want to say a different anime altogether, but like, I was like, damn, this is My Hero nowadays. That's actually pretty sick.
Yeah, no, for real.
It was like
it changes.
it was like
And the thing, it reminds me of like part 4, how like the first half of part 4 has a very like, you know, slice of life vibe, and then the mood just changes when Yoshikage Kira steps on stage. That when Shigaraki like truly enters the story changes. And if it wasn't like, My Hero needs that first half, because if it didn't have that first half, the second half wouldn't be what it is. It's like watching an entire world get flipped on its head, and like you need build up for that kind of shit to happen. So I wouldn't change anything about the first half. I wouldn't change Deku being a cinnamon roll. I wouldn't change him being a baby, and I wouldn't change the show, honest to God, being kind of cringe for the first 3 seasons. But like, it's literally worth it when you get there.
fair enough. I'm convinced. I want to watch it more, but I also want to watch Bleach next. So,
True and W.
all right, I'll probably end it right here unless you guys have anything else to say, because I know we're going on for like an hour 43 minutes. So,
True. I will. My quick antagonist that I wanted to mention was William Dafoe's Green Goblin. I did say some things about it, but he is a fucking W.
I had a feeling you were gonna say him too. After you said Tobey Maguire, I was like, oh, he's gonna say Green Choplin. Choplin.
Choplin. And for protagonist, I'm going with the live action Garfield.
What a guy. If I'm gonna pick live action ones, I'm gonna have to pick fucking Aiden Ross, the copy strike master himself. No, just kidding.
Copy strike, dude. So real.
Copy strike.
Chris
Pratt.
Nah, DK is the best animated side character of all time. Sorry, guys.
He's got the best Mario voice that you've never heard. What a guy. All right.
Damn.
I will end it up I'll end it off right here, guys. If you guys enjoyed, feel free to drop a like, subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, drop a follow, because like I said, every Friday, or maybe like most Fridays, I should say. I don't want to say every Friday. We're here 5 p.m. EST doing our podcast. Episode 20, I want to say, is the episode we'll have a guest, because I know we keep saying every other week, oh yeah, we're gonna have a guest on, and then we never do. So episode 20, let's hope we have a guest. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Adios.